2006 BMW convertible. This is the one where we just replaced the alternator. My neighbor stopped by, he said he had some trouble starting it. At first it was intermittent, now it's a no crank, no start. And then he left it out here with the top down during a freaking flash flood like rainstorm. So we're just gonna see if we can make it start. We're doing a feed test on the control wire to the starter. You can't really see where I got it hooked up, but it's on the control wire to the starter solenoid. Got the airbox out of the way, and our lights should light up when my friend Joe cranks the car. Go for it, Joe. You're cranking it?
Yep.
Nothing. Do it again. Aha. Alright, cool. Alright, shut her down. What I want to do now is manually energize that circuit and see if the car the engine turns over. Then we'll know it's a control side issue, not a starter issue. Alrighty, so we're going to manually energize the starter by connecting the lead that goes to that control, the solenoid, to a positive source. Oh, it's clicky. And we want to see what the current is running through that wire. So here we go. Hopefully, worst thing that will happen is we'll blow this fuse. So starter works. That's good. And see the current again. All right. So it's like 7 amps to engage the solenoid, and then it's about 1 amp to keep it engaged. Starter works, battery's good. Where do we go now, Joe? The control side, let's see what controls that wire. There might be an immobilizer. It comes somewhere from the key. If you guys remember from the BMW X3 we did, the immobilizer lived right by the brake pedal, up kind of under the dash. So we can look there, we can go online, look this thing up, but at least it's not a starter, so maybe that's a good thing. So with the key on, I want to try start it. Guess I might as well put the airflow sensor back in here, and let's go for it. Ready? No way! Woo! That was pretty cool. We drop the top. So convertible top does not work anymore after the flood. I don't know if he wants that fixed, because otherwise it kind of defeats the purpose of a convertible. Alright. So this should already be in my history. This is that guy, 2006. What has now been? Let's see what's the VIN on here. 84051. It's actually this guy. Activate. So it could be just a simple problem with the control circuit. As it runs and I think a wiring diagram will be more helpful than this guy, because the starting circuit's usually pretty straightforward. But we'll scan it anyways. Check engine light is on. That's probably for his air injection pump that hasn't worked in a couple of years, that we don't care about. I should probably plug in the module first, just a sec. Alright, we just did a brief scan. Immobilizer, no codes. Engine, no codes. We can't talk to the convertible top here, so the Veris is kind of not very useful at this point. So we're going to just look up a wiring diagram and hopefully trace this starter control circuit, and then maybe if we have time we'll look at the convertible top. So using the AUTEL here in the immobilizer data stream, I think this is where we should have started when the car was still acting up, because since we didn't have any codes, it has to be an input problem on the control side. So, and by that, what I mean is, right now it says starter enabled, we can start the car. If, for example, it's in gear, if we put it in reverse, we'll see that right here it says starter motor blocked due to park neutral, yes, and starter's enabled, so obviously we can't, you know, can't start it. Put in park, starter enabled, starts up just fine. So when the car acts up, and I'm sure it will again, this is the first place we should go and see if any of these things are, you know, active. So it can be block 2, not exactly sure what all these things are. BC code, central, double lock, starter motor block due to park neutral, that's obvious. And then right now when it's running, it's block 2 due to exceeded, not exactly sure, but when it's running, obviously you don't want the starter to engage. And again, there's a whole bunch of key stuff down here that could be a problem. So basically, we'll come back to this. But that's good to know that it's there. No codes. Later in the evening, we're back to the BMW. Want to start it, want to drive it to my shop. It's not starting again. Got the AUTEL plugged in. It says starter is enabled. And when you turn the key, god damn it, start it up. I swear it didn't start just now. Plugged in the scanner. Damn. Well, we'll have to recreate it at the shop. So my wife's gonna drive this BMW home. Too bad the convertible top doesn't work.
I can't even reach the pedals.
Move your seat forward. What's that? Apparently there's a woman over there who needs a jump start. You think you can help her? Or are you too busy driving your fancy BMW now?
I'm just trying to figure out how to get the seat to move forward. I think I did it, but I think I also inclined the seat too.
Which way do you want to incline it?
No, we're good.
This is forward, this is a right.
I can't see.
You want to go up, down, up.
It's just too fancy.
You go down like this. Up like this.
We're good. I can reach. It's a go. It's a go.
Yep, I'll be right there. Okay, we gotta go help some woman. Follow me.
Am I not going to the gas station?
Follow me. Alright guys, we're working on the BMW. The no crank, intermittent no crank condition. I still can't get it to act up. It's been here like a week. Ridiculous. So at this point we have to kind of take a logical, educated guess. The starter control, which we determined was not happening. So basically from the ignition switch, we go to this electronic immobilizer control unit, and whenever this thing is happy, it flips the switch and connects this black and blue wire to the black wire, which is the control wire for the starter solenoid. So pretty simple in terms of the logic. And the one time I did manage to see on the scanner that this thing was happy, you turn the ignition switch and nothing happened. The starter did not engage, and they try again and it worked. So I'm suspecting a problem with this internal relay in the immobilizer unit because there are no codes stored. I don't have any other ideas, and solder joints I've seen on high amp circuits, like the starter solenoid, it draws like 7 amps to engage. A cracked solder joint is a very real possibility. for example, on Hondas, you know, the main relay, if that goes, you'll get a crank no start because the fuel injection is not enabled. But only on a really hot day, when the engine's hot, everything's hot inside the car, that's when it happens. And I think this is when the BMW is acting up. We had this heat wave, and during that week, it was getting worse. And now it's, you know, it's warm outside, but I still can't get it to act up. Anyways, here's a little magic box. The EWS3. And this guy in here, see the two big pins? That's the black and blue wire to engage the starter. So that relay in there just connects those two pins. So I want to see if we can tear this guy apart. It looks like it can possibly come apart. You just pry here and here and see what's inside of this guy. Alright, let's go for it. Well, that's pretty easy to at least just get this cover off. And there it is. The whole thing, I think, just slides out if you push these little connector tabs in. Wow, too easy. What do we see in here? Anything interesting? There's the relay, right? And do we see cracked solder joints? That is my big question. Well, I'm going to kind of clean it off a little bit with compressed air and take a close look to see if we can find a problem on this guy. I'm excited. I got it to act up. I started it like 20 times and now it's not starting. Oh my word. So the problem is not with the immobilizer. Check this out. We have a high amp test light. I connected all my test lights together. There's the low amp, and then I got two bulbs here. And what we're going to do is touch the test light on the pins on the immobilizer. See if we can get you guys a shot. It's plugged in. So you see the black wire, the one on the side here, that comes from the ignition switch. So when you turn it to crank, we should get power there. The relay should be on, and the relay will let the current go right to the starter solenoid on that black and blue, the second one over. So, for test light, oh, it's gonna be a hard shot. Let's see if we can go upside down. Get you guys in the shot here. If we're touching either one of these pins with the test light, it should come on as soon as we turn the key to crank. Get that in the shot. Nothing. And when it was starting, alright, so let's prove the concept here. So we can get it to act up. I'm just happy about that. Nothing there. Make sure our test light works. We can grab the DLC. There you go. See how bright that is? So whenever we're on this pin right here, and we do get it to start, that light should come on in the crank position. So let's try it. Now it's not gonna. So each time crank, nothing. Jiggle, 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 nothing. So, considering it's acting up, which is really awesome news, I just have to start it a bunch of times, load the system continuously. I think it's going to be a bad contact somewhere. Now the problem is, before the immobilizer is not getting the feed from the ignition switch. So we have to look at another wiring diagram and go upstream. So I'm using this new TIS info. There's the website. And this website is fantastic. I love it. Here is, for example, a description of the immobilizer system for this specific car. E46 325 CI, wiring diagrams, powertrain, electronic mobilizer. This is like the all data for BMW, and it's free. I'm just floored. So thank you to whoever posted a link on one of the other BMW videos, like, Ivan, check out this resource. It's awesome. So we're on here. Let's look up diagrams. So, for example, here's where you start. You can put in your 7 of your VIN, the last 7, and it instantly finds your car. And we're interested in wiring diagrams and functional descriptions. That's where the gold information is. And if we're not sure, like, where do I find the ignition switch diagram, you can type in ignition switch, search for that, and here's everything that has to do with anything that has ignition in it. So we're not interested in repair instructions, we're interested in SSP, the wiring diagrams. So I clicked on this guy, boom, there it is, beautiful wiring diagram with this is key, there are links in here. So if you don't know what this is, we can, for example, open this in a new tab, and there it is, A836 electronic immobilizer control unit. That's this guy right here. And if you want to know the location, click on the link, boom, it's right above the under the dash there. Awesome, awesome stuff. What we're interested in, when we turn the key to crank, we are not getting a signal on this black and blue wire, right? And when we do, the car starts. So the problem is definitely somewhere between this 50 amp fuse, the ignition switch, and the connectors here to the immobilizer unit. So if we can get to this X33 connector, I think we'll be in really good shape. Now let's see. Open link in new tab. Connector view, component connector. I just want to know where this thing is. It's probably right on the ignition switch. There's the pinout. Awesome. Let's try opening that in a new tab. Pinout. Supply diagram. I mean, there's really good stuff, and it's organized. I love it that all the information's right there. Basically, let's get to this ignition switch, find that connector, and do some checks there. I think we almost have this nailed. I never in my wildest dreams thought disassembling a BMW would be this easy. So we got this cover off, just 2 little pins, boom, pops off, and our connector is right here. This is cool. All right, zoom you guys in on that guy. So this is our starter control wire right here. So we're gonna touch it, see if this thing fires up. Ready? Nothing there. So now, are we missing a feed? That's hot. That's hot. That's hot. That's hot. But when we crank it, there we go. You saw that? Try again. So I'm going to push in on the test light. Now in the crank position, that's hot, that's still hot, that's still hot, and ooh, you guys see that? Let's try again. So I think think we're dealing with an ignition switch problem here. That's hot. There we go. Cause and effect. Awesome. Now push in. There it is. Let's pop this guy off. See what we can find. Ooh, fancy. Slide connector, okay. Just check our pins. Pins look nice and clean. Now to undo this guy from the lock cylinder, let me explore. All right, thanks to YouTube Information Service. Take these little screws out of here. They're flat heads covered by like a little red paint or something. Very hard to put a lot of pressure on them because you don't want to strip these little guys out. Okay, here it comes. I don't know if we want to take it out all the way or just a little bit. There we go. Beautiful. Ah, too easy. Let's tear this guy apart and see what's going on. Alright, so this is pretty neat. I pop top cover off, and if we turn this thing, so right now it's in the off position. That's 1, 2, and start is here. And there's like a one-way switch. You can't start it twice in a row. You have to back out, crank it again. So just by watching these contacts and the cam, this guy right here, so this is constant power. Then when we crank it, it sends power to our black and blue wire down here. So we can pop this cam out, I think, and take a look at the actual contacts. Interesting system here. So when the cam is not in there, all the contacts are actually touching, and this guy right here is our starter. And apparently too many cycles, that little pin just doesn't make contact anymore, and then you're done. So we'll get a new one of these. I don't think you can clean it out. You might be able to put a little file in there, but you can actually see pitting. I mean, this is gonna be a really hard shot to make. You can see pitting right there as you open the little pin up. So the other ones do not have any pits because we don't have this high amp surge. That's all it is just a poor contact. We try to clean it out, and then it'll start every time. Can't make it act up, then we get a new one anyways. But that's it. So BMW intermittent no crank, just bad ignition switch. Nothing too fancy. Thank you to the information database. We can diagnose that. I'll leave a link in the description. And thanks a lot for watching. Euro stuff, sometimes it's not bad at all. So See you guys next time. Bye-bye. Just a little bonus footage. Sprayed some deoxit right on that pin. Took a serrated screwdriver, shove it in there and try to clean up the contact surfaces on the pin. So we're going to put this in. It'll work for now. We'll buy a new one. Pop it in. Should be good to go. Alrighty. Switch is reinstalled. Nice. See if the convertible top works. There we go. Woo! Sweet. Done. Excellent. Actually starts better now, as in earlier in the turn up to the crank position. Good deal.